Uh, 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 uh. Barber College Success. Again, we're going to have a wonderful podcast. Barber College Success, brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cuts Academy, JC Crown Cuts Academy Bristol, and Craig's Crown Cuts Downtown JC. Again, we changed the podcast name. We call it Earn the Crown, featuring Barber College Success. Brought to you with some wonderful panels today. We have a great, we got a fire on set. Spreading love the JC way. The only way we know how to do it is the Crown Cuts way. Let's spread love all the time. We have a wonderful, I can't wait to start this podcast. It's going to be so good. And again, you want to shout out Feed Spot. Put us in the top 25 podcasts in the world. That's plenty love for all our listeners out there, from Russia to Sweden to Germany to China, all across the U.S., every county in Tennessee, in the Caribbean, everywhere. Thank you. Subscribe, like, listen to it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We out there. We're gonna come with some more platforms too. But again, spreading love the JC way. The only way we know how to do it is the Crown Cuts way. Shout out to Feed Spot. Shout out to Lathan from Market Street Media. Again, thank you. Today we're gonna have I can't wait. We're gonna talk about branding, marketing yourself. How students should market themselves and brand themselves in school, and what's the importance of that. First, I'll let my guests introduce themselves, and we'll jump right into it. Boom. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Barber First, and I'm with Mary Kay.
Ooh, you hear that? How long you been with Mary Kay, Barbara?
Been with Mary Kay for 45 years.
So that's plenty of experience. Ooh, we gonna talk.
William A. Fields.
Talk about your brand. Talk about who you with, Mr. Fields.
I am William A. Fields. I Deer Valley Leather Art and Photo.
Your son put pressure on you. I don't know what's wrong with it. He put pressure on you.
Well, I don't want to embarrass the brother, I try to keep a low profile. But anyway, I try to let my work speak for itself. But also,
and it does.
I'm executive director of Mount Pleasant Preservation Society Museum, which is in Marion. So
Ooh, yes, sir.
Enjoy passing on our story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Things that will withstand the test of time.
Let's go. Let's go. And my next guest.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tariq Smith, owner and CEO of growing fitness brand Lifters Only Club. I'm a personal trainer, bodybuilder, model, and actor. Super excited to be here and tell you guys all about branding and how I grew my brand and how I'm continuing to grow it.
Ooh, let's go. And my
Am I your
host,
barber?
My
Yes,
super
sir.
host himself.
Blessed to be here again.
Ooh.
My father here as well. He can't embarrass me now. That's why I said that. Happy to have everybody here and to be here.
I'm Juan, known as Obi-Wan, barber at True Classic Barbershop, Kingsport, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. So we got a wonderful panel today, and we're gonna talk about branding. We're gonna talk about how can students and why should they start pushing themselves while they're in school. What can they do? Suggestions that we're gonna come up with for you as a student that you can do to help push yourself, because everybody will be able to fade. But what is gonna separate you? Your brand, how you market yourself, how you push yourself. Miss First, when you think about what is branding and what is marketing to you? Talk to me about that. When you hear the words branding and marketing.
Well, when I think of branding and marketing, I want to go back to 45 years ago when I started with Mary Kay. And when I said that I was with Mary Kay, people would say, Mary who? No one had ever heard of Mary Kay.
Right.
In Pennsylvania where I live. We were the first. And it's been really fun watching this whole thing evolve, because the name speaks for itself now.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, one of the first questions ever asked is, do you drive a pink Cadillac? And
I was gonna
yes,
ask
I
that.
have driven a pink Cadillac while I've been in Mary Kay.
I already did.
And so really that's a big part of our branding,
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that that it's a pink Cadillac. It was not Mary Kay's favorite color. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
You would just assume. And so the reason that she chose pink was because the pink jars would look best in a white bathroom. That most of the bathrooms back then were white.
Separation. How do you separate this? That's what she was thinking about. How do you separate yourself? I like
How
that.
do I separate myself? I think the big thing is you've just got to love people. If you're going to market a product, you've got to radiate a love for other people. That's going to make them want to try your product. That's going to make them want to buy your product. The product will speak for itself once they're using it, but you've got to be out there. You've got to be the one who's saying, I'd love for you to try this product. And that's why I'm married Mary Kay for 45 years, because I think the product is superior, and to be able to introduce it to other people, it's a great thing to do.
So, T, when you talk about marketing and branding, when you hear those words, what does that mean to you? Because we're going to break it down. We try to help students, cosmetologists, in the whole industry. There's people out there, because this podcast is called Earn Your Crown. So whoever it is, we're going to help you earn your crown. We're going to give you some heat today.
Cool. So I think the difference between marketing and branding, branding is more of who you are, where marketing is more of showing the product, getting the product in front of eyes. So I feel like to be a great marketer, you have to have a great branding, just because, you want someone to be able to see and know it's you. And I feel like the best way that I've been able to brand is just by telling my story, just saying, just being honest, being transparent, being just showing people exactly what I'm about, what the brand is about, and what as the owner, I kind of live my brand. So
right.
I am the brand. So just trying to live every day and show that I'm really about what I talk about, that the brand represents what the brand represents, if the brand is representing me and I'm representing the brand, vice versa. I feel like, the owner is going to be the main part of the brand. And even like with barbering or anything that you go into, you are that brand. So yeah, I feel like in branding, you have to embody the brand, and then marketing is just getting it out there, being social, being open to talk to people, meeting new people, networking, things like that.
And that's one key thing I try to push to my students. You have to be social. You have to love people when you're trying to sell yourself.
Yeah, for sure. You're the salesman, especially as you're just starting. If there's no team or anything like that, then you carry all the hats. So you're the brand or the marketer, the creator, so everything goes through you. So you have to be the main one out there, grinding, doing the footwork, getting out there, showing people, putting your product in front of people, because nobody's going to know about it if they can't see it.
And again, your company is Lifters Only Club.
Yes, sir. Lifters Only Club.
How do you come up with that name?
Oh man, basically it's just about my life. Lifters Only Club is just about elevating. I'm about lifting no matter what.
Right.
And I just happen to take the fitness route, so it kind of plays into lifting weights. But anyone who's working on themselves is a lifter. You don't have to just be lifting weights or working out. As long as you're uplifting. My motto is elevate unselfishly. So I feel like if you're elevating and you help the next person elevate, that your blessings are going to flow abundantly. A lot of people try to do the selfish thing. Oh, it's all about me. But the more you help people, the more people are going to help you. So
I feel that.
I feel like it's just a community thing. I came up with the name just from my hardships, just elevating and just kind of keep going. Always continue to elevate, always continue to rise.
So, Juan, when you think about that, what comes to your mind? Because you were a former student of mine, and one of the key things we always talked about is, and you'd make fun of me sometimes for the yearbook.
Pictures.
Y'all got a yearbook?
He'll talk about that. Go ahead, talk about it.
Craig would take random pictures of you doing whatever. You'll see Craig over there with his phone like this. You know how he's a little bit older, so he don't know how to use his phone like this. Yeah, so he like this, taking pictures.
Different angles, Juan.
And then he'll say, "Oh, it's for the yearbook. It's for the yearbook." So basically, he always talked about taking pictures of your cuts, no matter if it's a bad cut, good cut, whatever. That's how you put your name out there. You show people your growth and where you came from. You never want to just be like, "Oh, it's a bad cut. Let me not even post it." So even some bad cuts, you put them on there to let people know you're getting better and better and better.
So, and that's in itself, you branding yourself, you
Yeah.
marketing yourself. So when you hear that, what comes to your mind? How do you want people to see you as a barber?
To just see me as a people person and somebody that is humble also, that doesn't want to be Mr. Perfect and doesn't think he's the best person in the world. Also with the name, I mean, Craig gave me the name about 2 days in the school. He was like,
Obi-Wan.
yeah, he was like, Juan, that's start with Obi-Wan, it should be a name. And so I stuck with it because really I wasn't even going with that. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds nice. And so like a lot of times, when we're in the shop, people look on our board and they'll see Obi-Wan. They'll, yeah, who's Obi-Wan? And that's a conversation starter too.
Right.
So you start talking about Star Wars, 15 minutes after the cut, you still talking about Star Wars, and they ain't even leaving.
And
So,
and you branding yourself.
mhm.
That's a cool thing because I didn't give myself my Instagram name either. Somebody, and we cut a lot of hikers coming through Marion.
Uh-huh.
They take the Appalachian Trail and they get hiker names and they're given to them. You can't give yourself a hiker name.
Right.
Mm.
So like my Instagram name was given to me. So I think that's I think that it means a little more. Somebody gives
Yeah.
you a name, you can adopt it and make it yourself.
And
Yeah.
it's important when you're in school going through that formation, you have to have something that you can stand out and stick out. One barber, I think he wears like a red hat. And everybody knows him by his red hat, no matter where he goes. So you kind of want to give yourself an advantage, some type of separation, because after a while, everybody's going to be able to do a haircut. Everyone is going to give you a good, solid fade. You do it enough. And I think how to separate yourself, first being that good person we talking about, but then coming up with a brand, coming up with a name that people will remember. Mr. Fields, you have your company. How has branding helped you come up? Because I know you're a man of many words and you think about things before you put it out there. So how has branding helped you?
Well, I have to go back to what Brother Brown mentioned in respect to perfection. We strive to do the best we can do, whatever we do. And whatever we do, regardless of what others feel, should always look and be your own worst critic and see what you can do to improve it.
Right.
And that's how you grow. So as far as myself and the things that I do, be it my artwork or leather work, I tell folks that each is like myself is a work in progress,
Right.
and your work speaks for itself. And I can give an example of regardless to if you have to do it over again and again, because you should be your own worst critic.
Right.
And I forget exactly the question, and I'm not sure if I'm answering it.
No, you're on track. You're answering it. You're talking about your brand and how. What's the importance of your brand?
Well,
Because you have a major brand.
okay.
Because I just shopped with you, and you came out and gave me some amazing work.
Well, one thing I've learned is that a satisfied customer is the best advertisement you can get in whatever you're doing.
Right.
And again, if you're always striving to do your best and excel, then you continue to grow. And I've been blessed to be, and the way, for example, I do leather work as well as artwork. The way I got involved with that was I worked as an apprentice,
Right.
and a brother introduced me to it, and then I took that and rolled with it. And my work, has been in countries and places that I've never been myself and only
Wow.
seen or heard of.
So, Barbara, when you hear everyone talk, what's going through your mind?
Well, I think it's very exciting to realize that the name of the business representing you and how that is affecting the people who come to your business, because they right away, I have such respect for each of you as I've had respect for Craig, because from the time I met him, because my granddaughter is a student in his school, I knew before I met him that I wanted to meet him, because my granddaughter had so many good things to say about Craig. And I think as I sit around this table, I see that in each one of you. What you're representing is your brand, is your business. But what I'm seeing is that it's not just about you. And if we try to make it just about us, then we got a little problem.
Mm.
It has to be about other people. And that's what I heard right away with Craig. The 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 branding is the name of the business, I'm assuming.
Right.
The marketing is how you treat the other people.
Right.
What is it that you're doing for somebody else? Is it just giving a haircut, or is it making them feel better because they came there today? And I think that's where really where it comes down to. When someone is with you and they leave you, how do they feel about themselves?
Right.
How did you make them feel? And I see that in each one of you. I can see that that's what's going on at Craig's school.
So
Pretty amazing place.
it is. Thank you, Barb. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. T, talk a little bit more about your product.
Yeah, man. So it's a fitness brand. Just trying to bring comfort and style together, combining it together, basically clothes that you can work out in, but also that you can wear out. Just want to bring a high quality product with a not a high quality price. I want to make it super affordable. I don't want to bust any heads or anything like that. I'm not really in it to make. Of course, I mean, you want to make money, but
It's a
not
business.
Yeah, I'm not in it for the money. Like, I'm not in it to make high profit margins or anything like that. I'm in it to really. I want people to have something that shows their story, basically, that from the beginning, from the bottom. I built this brand from the bottom to where it is now, and so I want people to, when they wear it, that it represents their story, that it represents that they're always lifting, that they're always elevating, and just trying to bring the message of positivity and hard work through my clothes. So I'll have like different sayings and stuff on them. I'll have like elevate unselfishly, different things like that. But just trying to bring something new and fresh to the fitness community, but also keep it incredibly comfortable, and also a really good price point for people to afford.
I think it's important first that, like, when you start with a brand, you start with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you have to represent that brand really well.
Right.
If you don't represent yourself really well, your brand can't represent you.
Right.
And what do you think, Am?
Yeah, I think that immediately. I mean, it is when you can put yourself being 100% you in something, you'll be way more happier, way more satisfied, and it won't feel so much like work. Because when you're trying to be somebody you're not, that's when it really feels like work, and it's constant pressure on you because you're constantly trying to be something that you're not. So when you can just relax, come into it, you'll be way more satisfied, way more happy, and it'll feel better.
So if there's people out there who's trying to get to that point where we are, just to start, what do you say to them? Because everyone aspires to be a winner. Everyone wants pluses and not minuses. So what do you say to someone who wants that plus, but just sitting there, don't know where to go, how to start? What do you say to them?
I think that whatever that you want to do, to immerse yourself in whatever it is, and then to begin working hard, mastering, and eventually whatever it is that separates yourself will soon start to pop out, and you'll notice it immediately. You'll see what's different about yourself when you work hard, and I think that's one thing you can do.
What do you think, Juan?
Being patient and really just believing in yourself. Really, I mean, don't automatically think you can be the greatest, but humility is huge. Be patient and just wait for the right opportunity, and just have confidence in yourself too. There's a difference between being confident and being big headed.
Yeah. My biggest thing, man, is just to start. Like, just do it. Just start doing something. Mess up. You can mess up. It's cool. Like, just start. Just make the first step. With me, I didn't know anything about business. I really just learning as I go. A lot of mistakes, a lot of trial and error. I'm a criminal justice major. I majored at I went to ETSU, majored in criminal justice, and thought that that's what I wanted to do. But it just turns out I found my passion in something else, and literally just started. Like, I just wanted to start, even with training or anything. I just started and learned along the way. And I feel like there's no better teacher than experience. So if you're going in there and you're messing up, same with, like, I know you were talking about barbering it, posting your bad cuts. Same thing. If you got a bad cut, you can only get better from that. So
Right.
if I'm messing up something, I've messed up several orders, several hundreds, thousands of dollars, but it's something that I won't do again,
Right.
because I've learned from it. And so it just continues to grow. But main thing, just start, just begin. Like, that's the biggest thing, because you can't get anywhere if you don't start. You got to take that first step.
Mr. Phil, what kind of words of wisdom you can give on that?
I say amen.
Amen. That's right.
Amen. You know, you have to have the courage. It takes courage not only to start, but at the same time realize, you know, I've said, I use verses of scripture, for example. It says, a living dog is better than a dead lion. I tell folks I ain't running at the head of the pack, but I thank the Lord I'm still in the race. Because if you're in the race, you can win. You got to have the courage to get in and make that first step, whatever you choose to do. You know, and like I said, I try to keep a low profile. I feel like I'm
No, it's not. This is, you can't keep a low profile on this, because how? I mean, Mr. Fields, you can't worry about embarrassing Emma.
No,
You can't worry about it. He already told you can't embarrass him.
Yeah. No, I've learned that you know, I am an artist and a craftsman, and I love creating things because your work speaks for itself, whatever you do. And I love creating something that if I pass it on to you, in fact, I've created things that have been to places around the world that are older than some of you sitting here. You know, that's how long I've been doing these things. And I enjoy creating something that I can tell you that if the Lord is willing, you live to see 100 years, you'll
Right.
still have it.
Yes,
It'll
sir.
still be with you. So, and it carries on, and your work speaks for itself. You know, wherever it goes, it represents you, whatever your job, whatever your profession.
So what can you say to that student, Barbara? What can you say to that student who's a little nervous? Because most people, I think what stops them is being afraid of criticism, being afraid of someone telling them, hey, you can't, that doesn't look good.
And I think the whole world is ready to criticize.
Amen.
I mean, what do we see in the news? Bad news, bad news. You hope that at the end of the news, maybe they're going to tell a good one, right? But the whole world this way. So I think as far as business is concerned, anytime you're starting something new, it's scary. I don't care what it is that you start that you've never done before, the very beginning, all of us are going to be afraid in the beginning. But I think that when you have a dream in your heart, and I really believe that a lot of this starts with the dream in your heart of something. For you, it was art. And you knew that probably from a very young age, most likely. And interesting that you went into criminal justice for education, but ended up with something totally different. Somewhere along the line, something sparked that interest and changed your direction in life. And I think we have to be willing, as we're walking this path of life, we have to be willing to watch for those things that maybe are changing our direction. And don't be afraid to say, well, I never thought I'd be doing this. If anybody had told me that I would be with Mary Kay, I would have said, you've got to be kidding. That would be the last thing in the world that I would do. I wasn't into makeup. I had tried skincare and never saw a difference. Didn't know that there was a product where there really would be a difference if you used a product for skincare. But I was willing to step out and just see. And so don't be afraid to just don't put your toe in, jump in.
Right.
When you feel that there's a direction you should go, jump in. Then you can learn.
Because I think most students initially, and not just in barber school, but anytime you're trying to start something new, most people have that anxiety, which is normal. Everybody has that normal anxiety. It's normal. You're starting something, that's an anxiety that's just there. Everyone has it. When Lathan started his show, he had anxiety. I mean, I'm pretty sure because you want to be good. You don't want to fail. You want success, but understand that the process to get there is necessary. You can't shortcut that process.
And I get addicted to that. I'm addicted to being uncomfortable now. I'm addicted to put myself in positions to where I haven't done things like fades and flows, man. And I told on, I think it was the last show, man, I was shaking, but honestly, man, I love that feeling.
Right.
And it reminded me of that feeling when I took my barber's exam and I was so nervous doing my practical. I was shaking there too, man, but I just love it. Like I love, and now I know that I can go on and I won't be as nervous and more confident, but I'm looking for the next challenge after that.
And that's what I tell students all the time. Okay, it's normal. We have insurance. The wall is saying every service, every haircut is performed by a student with a licensed professional supervising. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to jump out there, because initially that itch came about where you wanted to be a barber, you wanted to come to school. Step out there and make that necessary change to be better. Step out there and be uncomfortable, because that's the only way you're going to represent yourself with some success eventually.
And also, I don't think people realize how much support they have when they decide to do something. I mean, there were so many of my friends and family that were so supportive of when I first tried to start doing, like, hey, I'm gonna come get my haircut by you. And it was, yeah. well, hey, the one thing I learned, everything has a reason, Craig. Right. Elevate unselfishly.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Everything had, and that's, you know, that spoke to me more than anything, honestly. And that was supposed to read that.
Yes.
So elevate unselfishly. And if you don't take anything away from this podcast, is just because you might feel like somebody's trying to pull you down doesn't mean you should shut them off, because maybe they want to reach out and touch a little bit of I talked to my dad the other day. We talked about what was it, the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, just want to reach out and touch a little bit of what you got,
right?
And you could either smack them away, or you can take the time and just let them feel what you got going on, and that might be just enough for them to get to the next day.
Earn the crown.
For sure, man. I feel like my biggest thing is just I say what if all the time. That's my biggest thing. Like, what if I'm the best? What if I'm the best businessman that was born? What if I'm the best fitness bodybuilder? What if I was this? What if I was that? But the only way to find that out is to do it. So that's my biggest thing. If I'm nervous about something, if I'm anxious about something, I just say, what if? You know, what if I mean, I might be bad, but what if I'm good? So the only way to find out is to put in the work and do it. And more of the time, and if you put in the work, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be okay at it.
Right.
And you can always learn and build from it.
So,
but if you're scared to take that first step, you're never going to find out.
So we're talking about branding. Why do you think it's important for students to start pushing themselves while they're in school?
It's how you build your clientele. Like, when you get out, you just can't start from scratch when you get to a shop and expect that you're going to have people coming in all the time. So while you're in school, put your name out there, make your cards, build your Instagram up, different pages.
Build your brand.
Well, that way you got a head start for when you get out. You got people coming in like, hey, you went to school over, and they're coming to you.
So when do you think, right, you should start pushing yourself out there to build your brand when you come into school?
Day one. Before day one. Like, hey, I'm going to school. I'm going to be a barber. Come up there and holler at me. Let me work on you a little bit. Like, day one, you let them know I'm going to be in barber school. It's only going to take me about 10 months because I'm going to go there every day.
And not miss.
Yeah. And then as soon as I'm out, you got your new barber.
It's as soon as you get started, before you get started. I mean, make it first like your last, and your life last like your first, and make that your everything.
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
Right? That was my first time saying it. Craig was saying you have to play in practice.
Yeah. Make your first like your last, and make your last like your first, and make that your everything. So whatever you try to do to earn the crown, make your first day like you're an intern, like you excited, like you nervous, and you want to please people, you want to do your best. And when you leave, make that like your first day. Because if you do that, you're going to be successful. And that last day should be like your first day. Make your first like your last, and make your last like your first. And then make that your everything.
And then elevate.
Yeah.
Elevate unselfishly in between. And then you will make a productive, happy life for yourself.
So, Barbara, when should students start pushing themselves? What do you think? What kind of advice you can give for a student?
Like my granddaughter coming to the school.
Yes.
How should she start pushing herself?
Yes. From day, what do you think to build that brand and market yourself? We're just talking this.
I think the first thing is to know that you're there for a reason. You've gone there because you want to learn how to be a great barber.
Mhm.
And so from that point on, I'm fascinated by the statement, your first and your last.
Make your first like your last and make your last like your first
I
and make
love
that your
that.
everything.
I love that because when the first one, you're scared to death. Oh my gosh, can I really do this? Am I going to do a good job? But the whole point of it is, yes, you're going to do a good job. Maybe it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a good job. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be there.
Right.
And that's the reason that you are. And so I think that just the mere fact that you can look to people who are doing it and watch others. When you're out in the world, watch what other people are doing. Look at the ones and say, hey, I like what they're doing. I like the way that they are treating people. I like the way that they are proud of what they're doing. I want to have that same kind of pride in my business. That's what I want to reflect. And so watch for other people and find the things that you admire in others and make that a part of your story.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement 100%. Especially with me, like I didn't know anything about branding, anything about clothing, anything about anything when I started. So I literally just looked at all the other brands, looked at the brands that were successful, that were growing. I follow thousands of brands on social media just so I can see how they're posting pictures. Cause I mean, the bigger brands have people that's all they do. Like they come in and they post on social media, or they write captions for pictures or anything like that. And so for me, being a one-man team right now, I just follow them and see how because everybody started at the same spot. Everybody started at 0 followers with nobody knowing who they were. And so I just try to watch how other brands interact with their people, interact with their community, make their brand a community and everything like that. And just try to find, I don't copy the brands, but I just take a piece from here, take a piece from there, and then make it your own. So then you can take a piece of 50 other brands and now you have a unique thing because, you know, those brands, you're all combined in one. So I feel like and same thing with watching other barbers, seeing how they, you know, they might cut hair or how they might do their thing, how they might carry themselves, anything that makes them successful. I feel like you can mimic that and make it your own as well.
And Mr. Phil, I see you're thinking. What's going through your
Yes.
mind?
I was reminiscing about something, Sister. May I call you Sister Barbara? Mentioned in respect to, you also had to be willing to decide the difference between and destructive. You know, you have to be willing to accept constructive criticism, and you can tell the difference when someone is trying to uplift you and teach you something, be a new cut or a new exercise, whatever, you know, or you can do this a little better. You know, your posture, whatever. But and opposed to someone trying to just put you down, because there are those that don't want to see you succeed in whatever you're doing. You know, so you're going to either be a friend or your own worst enemy. But if you can discern the difference, you know, then you will continue to grow. And there's a saying that the end of growth is the beginning of decay. So whatever your business is, whatever you do, you want to continue.
And the importance of just starting in school, start early before you even sign up, when you have your mind made up to build your brand and start marketing. Because as you're in school, you can start thinking of ways to monetize yourself. You can start thinking of different revenues and different avenues to create income for yourself, because there's so many ways to benefit yourself, to put yourself to the next level. And if you start thinking of those things early, branding yourself, then you can market yourself, then it's going to be a little bit easier to pull in clients because you have content. And now we're thinking about monetizing, doing it the right way to grow.
Yeah, I think school is the best place to get new people. When I went to ETSU, that was my thing. I was in a fraternity. So we were kind of I still am in the fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, root to the bros. But we was we were, you know, like you're in the limelight. And, in college, you're around people who are your same age, who you're seeing every day. So if you're able to make a lot of times in school, people want to wait till they're out of school to start their thing, to start, I'm gonna wait till I'm out of school to start promoting myself or something like that. But if you're in school and you're doing it, you're hitting a whole crowd of people that are there every single day, that are literally around you every single day. And if you're at college, 20, 30,000, 100,000 people.
That's a big market for free
Huge.
that you can monetize yourself on and create content.
Yeah, and there's so many things that everybody wants to, in terms, especially barbering. I know I came from college, and if there was a barber in college, hey, they were making it, just because there's not that many barbers around that's in a dorm room. You can just walk in there and get a haircut or anything like that. So I feel like if you're in college, that's a huge time to really just start honing on your craft. And it's not going to be perfect, but, just starting. And that's when I started training.
And you have innocent feedback. You have a broad audience to grow. So utilize that audience. If you can utilize that audience, they can teach you.
Yeah.
And instead of having destructive criticism, you can have some constructive criticism to help you grow.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, while you're a student, people are expecting you to mess up. So if you mess up, cool, you're a student. Like, that's the whole premise of it. You're learning. So I feel like when you're in college, or when you're even in school, it's more acceptable for a mess up because you're not done.
I don't look at it like that. I kind of look at things more in positive terms. When you're learning, there's no such thing as failure.
True.
If you're learning, there's no such thing as failure.
Right.
How are you failing if you're learning? How? I think.
Well, one thing that comes to me, there was an artist that I met a long time ago, so I'm thinking of you, that from the time he was about sixth grade, he told his girlfriend, who eventually many years later became his wife, I'm going to become a famous American artist. So I think when you talk about branding yourself, I think you have to let people know that this is what I'm going to do, and I'm really excited about doing it.
Yes.
Make that so clear to other people. I remember when I was fairly new in Mary Kay, always a friend would call and say, do you still sell Mary Kay? And I would say, I'm going to be selling Mary Kay till I'm a grandmother. I have 14 grandchildren, and I have 3 great-grandchildren. And I'm 45 years in Mary Kay, and I'm 83. I don't know how old you are, but I can tell with white on your hair, you're not real young. But we decided, you're right.
Emma, why you laughing at your dad, man? Come on, Emma.
But I think the main thing is be confident in yourself, so that you can let people feel that you're serious about this, that this is really what you want to do, and that you're looking forward to them being a part of it, whether they become a person who comes in to let you cut their hair, or recommend you to somebody else, or tell them, oh, you've got to try out this guy. He's got a great gym. Is that what you call it?
Like a great workout plan.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have the right terminology.
That's all good.
But I think that it's really important to reflect. I'm in this for the long haul.
Right.
And so when they come to your school, they need to reflect that to everybody. It's not, I'm doing this on my way to something else. This is what I'm looking for.
Well, what that does, Ms. Barber, it holds you accountable. It holds your feet to the fire. It lets you know that, hey, don't sway. Laser focus, because you're going to get somewhere. You can't have distraction. You can't have outside things going on. Some people are like, I don't want to tell my dream. I don't want to say what I got going on. With me, I'll tell everyone I'm doing, because I know my delivery is different from everyone. My delivery is totally different. We can do the same thing, but I'm confident my delivery is going to be totally different, and it'll be the best. So just me.
You gotta put it. You gotta put it in universe. I laugh at my dad. Life goes full circle, because about 15 years ago, I didn't want to hear nothing he had to say, and now here he is, nothing, and now here he is telling everybody. So life goes full circle, and you know, if I had listened to him a long time ago, I'd probably be farther ahead in life, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But one day at a time, everything happens for a reason, and I'm happy to be where I'm at right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Your dad over there shaking his head like, man, you could
Man,
you
I
could
tell
have
you what,
saved a whole bunch of whoopings,
you
man.
need to yeah. We need Lathan to just go ahead and put a podcast up so you can go here and talk.
Yeah, but no, I think confidence in anything you do is gonna be the biggest part. With me, I try like you said, I try to put my dreams on Front Street. So I want people to know, like I want people to know what I'm working for. I want people to see the work and
Right.
know that the goal that I'm shooting for is big and it's there. And so when I get it, it's not like it's by accident. I want you to know this is intentional. This isn't something I play around with. This is something that I really put my time and whole heart into. So when I feel like a lot of people take it as arrogance, you know, but I feel like if you're around other confident individuals, it's like they're not going to take it as arrogance. They're going to take it as understanding that you're serious about your craft.
Well, for me, I consistently try to get better, because I love my job. I love what I do. So for me to love what I do and to give the students continuous growth, I have to keep enhancing my craft. So this weekend I went to a continuing education course and I came back just recharged. And I was just so happy to come back to share the good news from the three wise men, which was which was the instructor training. And I was just like, I can't wait to come back and share everything I learned, just enhance, let the students know, hey, you have to start. This is what you have to do to be the best. This is what you have to do to get the edge. This is what you have to do to get where you want to be. If you're in school to be a master barber, you can't be doing nothing else while you're in school. You have to focus on that. And I think one of the key things is creating something for yourself that people will remember you by. Creating something for yourself that people can remember you by. And that's just not in school, but in life. You want to go ahead and leave a legacy. You want to go ahead and leave something behind for people to say, oh, you know what? He stood out. And I tell people, I can cut hair, I'm a good barber, but one thing I know that you're not going to beat me in is communicating. I'm a good communicator. You can beat me in barbering, and then you can have that. But I know that's my skill. So when you're in school, those things you have to start early. How are you going to separate yourself? One activity we did and you probably would love it. We did so many activities when you were in school, a bunch. But we did an activity last week, and the activity was every student write 5 brands or 5 companies in the industry that you like, and get the address and write them a letter and tell them you're a student, and see if they will patronize you and send you some free product. Those things are realistic things that can happen. A couple of students did it, and they got instant feedback the same day from companies around the country, and sent them product the next week. And I'm like, it's simple. My fault, Juan. I didn't think of it then when you was in school.
I mean, you know, it's usually like that. Yeah, so I still ain't got my mat and everything. It's cool.
I got you, and I got your mat for you, I promise. But it's those things you have to start thinking of while you're in school to separate yourself. Because like we talked about, T, you have a broad audience.
Yeah.
You have people who can give you innocent, constructive criticism.
Yeah. And networking can get you doors in. It's gonna get you indoors that education or something like that is not, you know, if I wasn't training you every day, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
I didn't know. You know, if I wasn't, you know, I can be the best businessman in the world, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't, you know, network and meet you and, you know, do that type of thing. So I feel like networking can get you in crazy doors that you know, just like hard work can't get you into, or even education or anything like that. You can know everything, but if you can apply it, or the right person doesn't know that you know it, then it's what you said.
And it goes back to saying, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You can't go to no door, and no one is gonna know if you want to come in until you knock.
Right. Yeah.
You stand at that door and just stand there, and if you don't knock, I'll call the police. I don't know what you're trying to do. Mr. Fields, what do you think? What are you laughing, Mr. Fields? What's up?
I'm enjoying the company and the conversation, but I have a couple of things in mind that I'd like to share. And whatever you do, and at whatever level you are at, there's a saying: don't compete with others, compete with yourself, and be better tomorrow than you are today. Sister Barbara mentioned about a famous artist.
Right.
There's a famous artist that I know of. Most of you would know, and if I mention the name, the only thing you would know probably is he's supposed to cut off his ear and gave it to a prostitute. You know that much, but his life was far deeper than that.
Yeah, I
He-
heard. I heard. That's why I was like, why you cutting your hair off? Is it that deep? Come on, what are you doing?
He's far. Let me share this artist.
He's branding himself. That's what he's
Vincent
doing.
Van Gogh. And the thing is, you probably could Google him up these days, and he's probably did 100 self portraits, and yet even at that moment in time in his life, we always want people to paint us a little better than we look. But he was always realistic and true about what you saw in him. But his younger brother Theo was his patron and mentor, and he wrote him a letter once, and he drew a little drawing on it, and the drawing shows a man pulling a piece of farm equipment. It's called a harrowing. It's got spikes on it to break up the clods and stuff like that. And the letter says this, he shows the brother pulling the equipment. Now, maybe this brother would like to have one of these giant John Deere tractors or
Mm.
a team of oxen or whatever, but he doesn't have that. But he's got a family, he got to support. And so in his letter to his brother, he wrote this. He said, one must undertake work with a certain confidence that one is doing a reasonable thing. Then he refers to the drawing, like our friend in the scratch who is harrowing, and drags it Harold himself. He said, sometimes if you hear a voice within you saying you are not a painter, then by all means paint, boy, and that voice will be silenced. And I say that because whatever you do, we all sometimes hear that voice, whether it be coming from other people or within ourselves, trying to discourage you from what you're doing. But if you stay focused, now that brother's pulling that piece of farm equipment, like I said, maybe he'd like to have a horse, but he's got a family he's got to provide for. So he says, if one hasn't a horse, one becomes one's own horse. So you got to use what you got to get what you want. But do
Yes.
the right thing when you do it.
I mean, that was. I think a rapper said that too.
All right.
Do what you want to get what you want. That's what you said. How do you say it?
I don't know, but you know what I'm saying.
No, what do you say, Mr. Fields? Do
got
what
to
you
do
want.
I don't know, brother. It flows
Oh,
sometimes.
that's what I'm saying. That's poetry right there. That's poetry. That's what rappers do. The best of them. That's what they do.
Maybe Leighton got over there. Yeah, because it comes and goes.
Miss Barbara, I know you want to say something. You're thinking of something. Hey, you over
No,
there?
I just think the thing that all of us around this table, we're not all barbers around this table. That to me says a lot. Don't just learn from just the barber. Not that barbering isn't the most important thing.
No,
to
that's
learn
why the
barbering.
podcast is about. That's why I invite different people on it, because I think to earn the crown, and that's why I switched to barber. It used to be it's Barber College Success, but I said let me switch it up to earn the crown, because there's so many people around the world who are listening, and a lot of students always call me and send me messages and say, "Hey, thank you for your podcast. Has plenty of content. I decided to start school." So I was like, you know what? We are given so much more information than just barbering, but all the information relates to barbering to help you how to be better, how to grow. So if I bring people of different perspective and different skills, it will show you that, hey, the key is, I think, is his confidence, motivation, and just taking the first step in whatever you do.
Exactly. But I think learning from people from all walks of life, look to the people who are successful and study those people. What are they doing? What makes them successful? I thought it was interesting you saying that you had them write a letter. And honestly, that's out of the box. Did they teach you that when you went to that special training that you went to? No, you thought of that.
Right.
And so think out of the box a little bit. And then go with people who also think out of the box and watch them and see, okay, why are they so successful? What are they doing that maybe I could also do?
Right.
That's what I think. That's what I think is fascinating around this table.
It's important. It's important to get a descriptive from different people, because everyone has a different way to get to point from A to point B. And if you can pick a little something up from someone, it'll make your journey a little bit more effective and less destructive. One, you was in school. What did you coming from school? What you think you could have done better or differently to brand yourself?
I would say probably talk just a little bit more because I've always been a shy person.
Right.
So I think mine would have been more getting out outside of school, out in the
Communicating.
town and communicating, and talking to different people. It's like that one time, probably first couple weeks of school, I went to lunch and went to Taco Bell. I had my tag on, and the dude was asked me like, "Yeah, you go to Crown Cuts or whatever," and then I was like, "Yeah." Didn't say nothing else, and I told you about it, and he was like, "One, that's your opportunity. You should have told coming for a cut." So that's
I
so
mean,
that's
but those little things but you understood
yeah.
the
And I
message.
got it after you told me. I was like, "Dang, yeah, you're right."
But you were willing to come and tell him
Mhm.
for him to respond back to you.
And get that
Had you
feedback.
not come to him and said, you know, this was an opportunity, and then he could feed into you, this is what you would do the next time.
Yeah.
So the next time, I bet you did that.
Oh yeah. Like
In your journey of when you was getting your education, am I for school? What do you think how do you think you could have approached it different and to brand or market yourself?
I think looking back on it, I was so concerned about the fact that I wasn't licensed yet. And I remember coming on a podcast and saying, you're like, I'm not a barber yet, telling you I'm not a barber because I felt like I hadn't earned the title yet. But looking back on it, knowing that I did accomplish what I had set out to do, if I had started from day one as treating myself as a barber, then I would be a lot farther ahead instead of telling myself, oh, I'm not a barber yet. I'm not a barber yet. If I had started day one, I'm a barber.
Right.
This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. Then I would have been a way farther ahead than I am now. But on hindsight, hindsight's 2020.
And again, and that's what this podcast is for the new barbers out there, the cosmetologist, the nail techs, the esthetician, or even anyone trying to start something new to earn the crown. From day one, jump out there. Give yourself opportunity. Make yourself, put your feet to the fire. Make your first day like your last, and your last like your first, and make that your everything. And I got that quote from Jay-Z. He has that song, First Song, and it's when I first heard, and I heard the song many years ago, and I was working at the gym one day, and I heard that first verse, and I just kept repeating that verse back and forth and try to analyze it and breaking it down so I can understand it some more, how to apply it to my life. And I'm like, and I probably listened to that song for a whole hour of the workout, just one song, and trying to break down every verse. Make your first like your last, and make your last like your first, and make that your everything. And the title of that song is the first song. And I was like, man, that is excuse me. That was just great.
And for me, man, like my favorite thing to say now is it was written. So if you decide to go do something that day, then it's written. You're going to do it. If you tell yourself it's going to happen, it's written. You're going to do it. It's already happened. You don't have to worry about the next day because it's all whatever's happened is supposed to happen and it's already happened. So
Utilize your time wisely. Utilize your time wisely. For that person out there thinking about going to school, when you get to school, utilize your time, maximize it. Tap everything out of the school that you can get. Because if you wait, it's just putting you one step further from your goal and your dream and your accomplishment.
what was the question?
Just utilizing, making the best of your time, maximizing your time.
Yeah, man. I think time is money, first of all. So you wouldn't be wasting money, so don't be wasting time. I feel like if you can't get time back, that's the one thing you can't get back. You can get a lot of things back. You can get money back. You can get anything back, but you can't get time back. Once that second is gone, once that minute is gone, it's gone. So I feel like if you're really serious about what you want to do, then you're gonna put the time in because you can't. There's no substitute for hard work. First of all, so if anything you want, you're gonna have to work at it. You're gonna have to work hard at it. You're gonna have to stay up late nights, early mornings, whatever you got to do. But I just feel like there's no better time than the present. So if you're like, don't waste time. Like I said in the beginning, just start, and continue to grow. And we're talking about song quotes. This Jordan Lucas song that I've been stuck on. It's called Evolution. And he says I don't know where I'm going, but I'm learning as I'm growing. That's the evolution.
Ooh,
And
nice.
I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea where this is going to end up, but I know that I'm going to keep working and I'm going to learn as I grow, and it's going to come back full circle, So that's my new little thing I've been living by from that Jordan Lucas song. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm learning as I'm growing. That's the evolution.
Oh, that's great.
And as you see, right, the podcast, we've been on this podcast for an hour. It doesn't seem that way. Does it seem that way? What do you guys think of the podcast today?
Do I think what?
So we haven't been on it. We've been on the podcast for an hour, and it seems like we've been on it about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
So what do you guys think of the podcast today? What do you think, Juan?
Thought it was a good podcast. A lot to learn from. A lot of wisdom. Like, I mean, I love listening to both of you two because it makes me feel better. It makes me want to work even harder, and then to think about how hard y'all have worked and y'all are still doing it, and it just makes me want to just keep. It's like
Motivation.
yeah, it's rejuvenating me right now. Like I'm ready to go back to work and cut hair.
What do you think, Barbara? What do you think of the podcast today?
Oh, I think the podcast is great. I do have a suggestion
Uh-huh.
for everybody here and all of those who are watching.
Yep.
There's a book that I used to read every single year, and it's time for me to read it again because every time I read it, it's like, oh my goodness, that's right. Oh, I want to make sure I do that. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Mm.
And anybody who's in business, if you haven't read the book, get the book, because this is what it's all about. I don't care what business you're in. I mean, you can be the best artist in the world, but if something doesn't get people to see your work, to appreciate you, it's going to just sit there.
Mm.
It's not going to go. And so that's one thing that I would highly recommend to people.
That was great because that right there is going to let people earn the crown. You're going to earn the crown, and that's what we're about, dropping jewels, giving information so you can get to that point. Mr. Fields?
It's a beautiful lady. You're
A good friend of mine. We only met like 3 weeks, a month, less than a month.
I feel like you forever.
well, it says he that has friends must first show himself friendly. But just from when we met, as you were coming in, you spoke to me in spirit. But I think of Brother Brown over there mentioned in the situation. There's a quote, temptation, we used to tell this to students, temptation, unlike opportunity, will always give you a second chance. When that door of opportunity opens, you have to be willing to step through and grab it and go for it, and I think, and I have something to share with you as well, which speaks to what you're doing in mentoring and giving people the opportunity to grow. I had to meet Emma at your school in Bristol before we came down here. And he that had friends must first show himself friendly. A young lady came out, and I'm not sure what she was coming or going, but I thought she was one of the young ladies that it was in the podcast the last time I was here.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't her, but I introduced myself and she told me who she was. And I said, "Are you going to school here?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, so how's it going?" And she said, "Well, it's going well." And she was, she said she had left another school
Uh-huh.
to come to your school.
Wow.
For the reason being that those folk at your school and the people are so much nicer and helpful than others. So that says a lot for you and what you do. And
Thank you.
if I may, I always got to share one more thing if I can. Once I was asked about my things and what I do, and I talk about myself like a dog. I once wrote these words to talk about my artwork and the other work things I do. Along the way, this artist has learned that life is a mosaic made up of people, places, and things. Each, however perceived, good or bad, is a spoke in the wheel of life that helps to shape and mold us into the person either we have become or ever hope to be. So every time we have that opportunity to come together with others, especially in the spirit of love and unity and togetherness for the sake of uplifting each other, opposed to putting us down, that's an opportunity not only for you to help someone, but perhaps for someone to pass something on to help you along your way.
Amazing. What do you think of this podcast today, T?
Man, this podcast was crazy, man. It's inspired me in ways that I didn't even think would inspire me. Just being around like other like-minded individuals, hearing different things and different ways to grow. I've been kind of on the fence about like taking the business full time and quitting. I work two personal training jobs right now, so I was been on the fence about quitting that other job. It's scary. Just as we were talking about, just starting something new is scary. But as you grow, you can't hold on to everything.
Right.
You gotta take some things and let them go, and move on to bigger and better things. And it's tough betting on yourself. I know barbers, that's pretty much what you're doing, is betting on yourself. Because right now I'm having a job working and stuff like that. But I think talking with you guys has really sparked me to chase my dreams, and really I've been waiting on it for a minute, but I think now it's time to really go ahead and chase that dream, and I just that
earn the crown.
Yeah, you gotta earn the crown. And just that it's like an affirmation. Like, it's like, this is where I was supposed to be today, and I was supposed to hear this, and I was supposed to be around you guys. And it's it just kind of I was kind of on the fence about it, worrying about it, like, oh, what should I do? And then here it's just like, boom, nah, you know what to do. And so I feel like, man, just and I know if it impacted me, it impacted listeners and everything, and other people. Especially if you're young, man, chase your dreams. You got time. I'm 25 years old. You got time. You got time to go and make it, and make yourself great. And there's no better feeling than working for yourself and earning your crown for yourself. A lot of times you're working for someone else, or not saying there's nothing wrong with that,
right?
But I look at it, you're kind of earning their crown, because that's their dream. So I feel like you want to go and bet on yourself, and you're good enough, you can do it. And this podcast really just affirmed all that for me, and I'm sure it affirmed it for everybody else too.
Because there's so many ways to get to what you need to be, especially now. I mean, there's guys out there like Earn Your Leisure, Wall Street Trappers.
Yeah,
those people I watch who inspire me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, just to push me in the direction to show me, hey, there's ways to monetize yourself, but you have to come up with content. And we all have content in our life, things that we have done that we are expert at, and people want to know how to do it.
Yeah.
So we start with ourselves and break it down and share it.
Yeah. And I think another thing about, I know with me, being basically, I look at a clothing company as like a media company. Like, on social media, you got to be a media company. You got to show all that, you got to show everything. And I feel like one thing I know with me is, I'm thinking you have to have that perfect piece of content. Like, you can't have, everything's got to be super clear. Everything's got to be, cool, cool backgrounds, all that stuff. But really, content is, you can take a picture here and make it content. So I feel like overthinking what content is a big thing as you're growing a brand and as you're branding yourself, because a simple picture of, or another thing, I feel like people at the beginning, they feel like they're not good enough to show their content,
right?
To show where they're at. And if you're making
tell the story.
Yeah.
And
so
one thing I hope like one student do one day, and which would be so great for them, if they can just come to the school and journal every day of what every day is.
Yeah.
That's something you could sell for yourself. That's something you can talk about on your own podcast and tell people your experience of every day. Because when people don't know something, they get nervous. So if you could help them alleviate that nervousness, and at 30 days, this is where I was at. I was still a little nervous, but things were starting to come.
Yeah.
In 60 days, I learned this. In 90 days, I learned this.
Right.
In 120 days, I thought I was good. I take a step back. But this is what I did along the way to get back on track. In 7 months, that's when I feel that I was good at what I needed to do, and I felt confident.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are free to do, to monetize yourself, to get better. And you coming from a student perspective. So there's so many ways to brand and market yourself.
I feel like it comes back to the first thing. You just got to do it.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And be around people who are helping you cultivate your individuality and your mind.
Which I think you ask about this podcast and what do I think of this podcast? What you just said, it's making people think. So they're watching the podcast, they're looking at each one of these around this table, and they're learning something new. It may not be from me, it may be from you, it may be from you, but they're having the opportunity watching this podcast to make them think a different thought.
Yes. and just start. What do you think, Juan? What do you think of the day? What do you?
I thought it was great. Um, it's one thing that I've been kind of thinking about is my brother. How everybody keeps saying, jump into it. My brother hates when I say, I think I'm gonna do this. I'll probably do this. I might do this. He hates when I say it. He'll get mad at me. Like, man, don't say that. You are gonna do it. Go ahead and do it. Get like his big thing is to say if I'm having an idea, I was thinking about opening this or whatever, doing like, nah, man, you are gonna do it. Go ahead and do it.
Let's do it.
So that's what I keep thinking about is my brother constantly telling me what I'm gonna do instead of me telling him, well, I think I'm gonna do it. I'll probably try it out or whatever. Like, no, you ain't gonna try it. You're gonna do it.
And so what if it doesn't come out the first time how you wanted to?
Hmm.
It's okay. Try again.
I was thinking about working out when I used to work out for football. I had a trainer, and if we said can't, he would smack us on the calf muscles as hard as he could. You ever say I can't do another push up? Bow, he smack you. And I was thinking about you talk about rappers and betting on yourself. I just heard a Drake song where he said, "If I'm betting on myself, I completely double down."
Of course. You know what I mean? So I
I want to go back to thinking of trying something. Okay, try and pick that phone up. No, you pick the phone up.
Yeah.
Put it down. Try to pick the phone up. Try to pick it up. See, there's no such thing as try. You're either going to do it
Oh, you're not gonna
or
do
you're
it.
not going to do
That's,
it.
and that's good point proven. I like doing that. That's
Nice.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'll use that, Barbara. I promise. I'll use that because I like throwing stuff. I'll be in the class, right, and speaking on something. I'll come with a quote, and Juan was like, "There you go again."
You still do quote of the day?
Yeah, we still do quote of the
See,
day.
this was like quote of the day to me. That was my favorite part of school is quote of the day, and that's the beginning of the day, the start
Right.
of school, and we
Where-
sit there for hour and a half or whatever, just going over that quote, and that's what I loved about it.
Okay, what'd you do with those quotes?
I didn't write them down, but a lot of them I do remember.
Okay. Be a good idea for people to write them down.
That's another way to monetize yourself. Write every quote down for every day of the year, and that's you can have
Yeah.
a book and you can sell that.
And
It
then
is.
you'll be able to share those with people. And
Yeah.
people are going to come to you and say, what's a quote today?
Mm,
And there's so many
Right?
ways you can come
Because
up
you
with
like
content.
that.
Yeah.
yeah.
And people and the key is again for this podcast is to open your mind and think. How can I start? What can I do? There's so many things you can do, but you have to be around people who are thinking. Open your thought process.
I was just thinking how I only met your granddaughter Kate for about 45 minutes to an hour, and she exudes the confidence that you have. I see a lot of yeah, I see a lot of you in her, and she probably get on to her about that journal thing. Let her know she can go ahead and start documenting now because I know she just started. So.
Yeah, she's been there about 30 days.
30 days.
Yep. So what we're gonna do, right? I'm gonna let everybody share about what they do before in closing, because every good thing gotta come to an end, and we're gonna share about your brand and what your brand is, and we'll just go around the table. And Mr. Phil, I want you to talk about what you did for me today with the. But we'll come to you in a second. So I'm gonna let you start, Miss Barbara. Just talk about your brand and what you do with your brand and how your brand affects people and what do you like about it? Just talk about it.
Well, my brand really started from the day I started with Mary Kay and just offering someone to try the product. And once they try the product and they become my customer, they're my customer for life, literally. But I make that very clear from the beginning. I let them know that I believe the product is superior and that I'm going to be for them forever. And I mean, I get thank you notes all the time from people who are buying the product. And when they're paying for the product, they're thanking me. And they're saying, thank you for caring. Thank you for serving me. And so your brand is what you care for others about. A haircut is good, but how do they feel when they leave? Is it a good haircut? And also, how do I feel about me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I went here today because this is just where I needed to be. I needed the haircut, but I needed encouragement.
Right. And it's important to remember people's names. Send them a thank you note. Tell them thank you for patronizing me in school. Get their email, get their address, send them a note saying, hey, it's your birthday. Thank you. Happy birthday. People remember those things. And there you're starting to build your brand, starting to build yourself up. Remember people's first name, remember their family name, their kid's name, their spouse's name, because those things add to your brand. And people remember that and appreciate that, and they're going to patronize you forever.
Mary Kay taught us, but I didn't hear it in the beginning and I didn't do it. And I'm sorry I didn't. So people who are newer in it, if they jump on this, one of our directors just told recently that she sent a birthday card to a customer because that's what she does. She sends everybody a birthday card. By the way, the first time I ever heard that, it was a car salesman who did that. And he was the top car salesman of all the different companies. And so to be able to start new, if you can teach your people from the beginning so that they don't say, oh my gosh, it's too late now. This director went to deliver product to this person's house. And there was a table there, and there were 2 birthday cards. One was for her husband, and one was from her. Guess what? What does she think about that person who sent her that birthday card? Personal notes. Oh my goodness, that's unheard of today. But thank goodness we also have text message, and we can communicate that way. If we can't write the personal note, make it personal in some kind of communication. And it can be very short, doesn't have to be long. Just be there. Just let them know you're there.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Fields, grab that bag and talk about it. Talk about your brand. Just feel the leather and hold it and talk about your brand.
That's beautiful. That is gorgeous.
Come a little closer.
Well, whenever I'm creating something, I call my business Deer Valley Leather Art and Photo. My hometown is Chilhowie, Virginia, and it comes from a Native American word that means valley of many deer. So whenever I create something, whether it be a piece of leather like this, I hope and I have created something that I believe that if the Lord is willing and you have to be 100 years, it will be dear to you and will serve you well. Now, right now, it's nice and shiny, and you can see it represents
Thank you.
Craig's crown.
Cuts.
Cuts
We earn the
with a
crown.
Z.
Earn the crown.
you
Earn the
know.
crown. Earn the crown.
And again, and I have to show you a couple of things about it too.
Handmade.
But yes, it's hand stitched. Hand stitched. It's called saddle stitching. And again, if the Lord is willing, you live to be 100 years old, and you pass it on. Now, when it gets the battle scars, it's like most of us got a lot of you brothers into the sneakers. Some of you got some shoes that once you get them broke in,
Yeah.
once they get comfortable and they get broke in, after they get the battle scars, then it's like I don't know. It just becomes like an extension of you if you carry it and use it.
So Mr. Fields' company is Deer Valley Stitching.
Deer Valley Leather.
Deer Valley Leather
Art
and
Photo.
Art and Photo. So you have anything leather. You do artwork. You take pictures. And what other leather work do you do besides?
I make briefcases, shoulder bags, belts, sun visors, and sometimes folk come to me wanting something that maybe I've not made before, and
Right.
They have an idea of what they want to have made, and I strive to work with them to create whatever their vision is. And I guess that's another thing about our vision in respect to whatever your fitness. Barber, there's a verse in the Bible that says, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Right.
So you got to have a goal and where you want to go and what you want to do.
And where can people get in touch with you? A phone number,
Okay,
email?
my number is 276-685-9184. My email is Deer Valley, DEAR. And again, some people think it's Deer. My spelling is wrong. Deer, not DEER. DEARVALLEY, leather, LEATHER, @gmail.com. And also I'm on, I have my work at Round the Mountain. If you Google roundthemountain.com, and you'll pull up a group of artists, and you put in my name, and it'll pull up my page, William A. Fields. Anyway, so if you need something that we would like to get something made, just call me and let me know. If the Lord's willing, I'll be glad to do my best to put something together for you.
Thank you, thank you. And Barbara, where can people get in touch with you at? Your number, your email. How can people get a hold of you for Mary Kay?
They can call me by my cell phone number is what I use all the time. 423-741-2182. And my website is marykay.com/barberfirst, FURST is the first name. The last name is first.
Make your first like your last and last like your first. Thank you. Thank you. Talk about your company and where can we get a hold of you?
Cool,
and
man.
How can people get in touch with you? And
yeah, so like I said, I do personal training. My Instagram is Torique J, TORIQUE J. For any personal training things I do online and in person. My brand is Lifters Only Club. Just Lifters Only Club on Instagram. I'm on all social medias. Email is theliftersonlyclub.com. I appreciate any support, man. It means a lot. The brand is growing, and it's just, the more people that are there, the more people that see it, the more people that share, it just grows every day. And I'm truly grateful and blessed for that. But yeah, man, I just train 24/7, build the fitness brand. I do bodybuilding. I've done 3 shows in the past 7 months, 1, 2, and then came 4th in the nation at my national show 2 weeks ago. We're shooting for the pro card in December, turn pro in bodybuilding, and just continue to grow. I do some photography, so if you ever need any pictures taken, I got you. Same thing as just Torique J, or my photography page is Torique, TORIQUE THESHOOTA, Torique the Shooter. And so, yeah, man, if you guys anything that I can do to help anyone, please feel free to reach out. I'm a young guy, so I can relate to the young crowd. So anytime, like I said, anything that you guys need any questions or anything like that, holler at me, especially fitness related. That's my passion, that's my love, and we can help you in any way I can. And if you're local in Johnson City, stop by Mayweather Boxing and Fitness.
Yes, sir.
I'm training there every morning, 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. So come start your mornings off right. Come work with the best. But yeah. So
do you ship any apparel out? Do you?
Everything's e-commerce. The website is www.liftersonlyclub.com. Everything shipped out. You don't have to talk to me for anything. Everything's complete through the website. And it will get it to you as fast as possible. For sure.
MI, talk about yourself and what you got to offer. And MI trying to make some big moves, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do what I can do, man. I'd come get a haircut from me, or just a conversation at downtown Marion Barbershop, Marion, Virginia. You can reach me at Am I Your Barber, AMMI, on Instagram. Yeah, man, come check me out. Or you holler at Craig. You'll get on the podcast.
Yes, sir. That's my co-host. My co-host. So he's at every show. If you want to get on,
I'm blessed to be here, man.
And if you have any questions for him, to hit him up. I be getting flooded with messages. Y'all gotta send MI some messages.
Yeah, I'll take some of it. I'll take some of the pressure. I will say though, I've never had to buy a belt in my life ever. So I'm spoiled to that. I ain't never had to buy a belt.
Juan.
Well, I'm Juan. Obi-Wan. That's Instagram is Obi_Juan_cuts. I work at True Classic Barbershop. That's in Allendale, basically Kingsport, Tennessee. And that's about it.
We can start this new thing now where every student has to come and do a haircut and do a demonstration. So when you doing yours, Juan? Next week?
Next week.
We prepare you for whatever, for platform artists, everything. So we want every student to come back and do a haircut.
That's cool. Yeah, I can do that.
This week, this week is open too.
You do it right now. You ain't doing nothing.
You have to just bring your guest or your client and do a cut. Whatever you do best. Just bring them in, set them up, and let them know.
Okay. Yeah. We probably work some out this week or next week.
Yeah. Just talk to Shay and we can go from there.
Okay.
And again, another great podcast. I had a great panel. I had a great time. It was fun. We've been on here now for 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's one of the longest podcasts we've had. Shout out to Lathan again for doing his thing. Barber College Success Earn the Crown podcast featuring Barber College Success. brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cuts Academy JC and Crown Cuts Academy Bristol and downtown Crown Cuts Academy, Craig's Crown Cuts downtown. If you're looking for a change of career, something different, female barber, you're looking to switch it up, male barbers, esthetician, cosmetology, and nail tech, you trying to do something different, call the school. Find out what Craig's Crown Cuts Academy is about. We service in the Tri-Cities within a 90-mile radius. We're getting ready to add a new program here coming up soon, probably in the next couple months, a makeup program. So, hey, come check us out. Come meet some great people, have some fun, and learn and grow. And get on this podcast, which is servicing around the world, around the country, and let people hear your voice and know what you got to say. Spreading the love the JC way. The only way that we know to spread the love is the Crown Cuts way. Once again, boom, boom.